What is up, you all? We're back with another video, and today we're going to be doing Everything Explained with Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So, I don't know if y'all ready for this ride, but it is definitely a ride. I actually went to go see Sinners again. It's my favorite movie of 2025 so far, but to get into this movie has a real in-depth message just to culture and everything. Now, pushing forward, we do see the stories about vampires, but Ryan Coogler does something very unique with this story, basically just kind of merging cultures and having a big message behind this film and storyline. Kicking it off with the Smokestack twins, played by Michael B. Jordan, man, and just pushing forward with these characters, we find out that they actually went up to Chicago to leave everything that happened in Delta, Mississippi, and they ended up going up there and actually robbing some guys. That's why they come back with the Irish beer and everything and all these supplies for Club Juke. And remember, they told the guy, Bo, that the Asian guy who worked in the shop in the town, remember Smoke told him, like, we hit, but we ain't hit that way. Basically, like, we robbed them. And we came back down here, we robbed the Irish people, and we about to open up Club Juke. We also see opening up the film that they're talking to this guy and they're about to buy Club Juke from him, but he's a little standoffish. He's trying to get invested in their life, like, what's going on? How did y'all get this money? Or y'all really trying to buy it? And Smoke tells him, like, yeah, we're going to buy it. They buy the area, the sawmill, and they tell him, if you come back on our property, we go lay you out, like, personally, like, don't come back over here. And I immediately knew it was something up with the guy. He had weird energy and everything. So we find out later in the movie, Remnick, the main vampire, actually tells them that basically he, like, because remember the Smokestack twins say, like, you know, y'all you a part of that Klansman shit, like, basically, yeah, like a Klansman group. And he's like, nah, people don't do Klansman stuff no more. Whole time he's like the head leader of the Klansman group. And that's when the head vampire Remnick tells him, like, yeah, he was gonna come back and kill y'all. Like, he sold y'all the place just to come back the next morning and kill y'all, which we see at the end, they bust a U-turn with the Klansman group and try to take out Smoke. And because everybody else was gone, they was gonna take them out. Pushing forward, this movie right here, the villain in this, man, Remnick, played by Jack O'Connell. Like, a lot of people are saying, like he's this evil villain, which he is evil, but he has a side to him that you have to understand. So we see this scene where Smoke and Stack come up to the door with cornbread because we see that the vampires approach the door, and Remnick is like, hey, can I come in and jam out with y'all, get my boogie on? And then we see Smoke like, nah, man, like, this right here is for us folks. Y'all can go down the street with that. Like, you know, some barrel joints down there for the whites down there. Like, you ain't gotta come in here. But he like, nah, like, we could come together and be strong. Like, I'm not on that. And he was like, you know, it's because of, you know, skin or whatever. That's why you judging me. He's like, I'm not on that. Like, I want to come in and have fun. We got music too. So they play their music, showing them, like, we got culture too, which I love that Ryan Coogler wrote Remnick out like that, because a lot of people, it's like, it's a very divisive character, so people don't understand him really, but the whole time he's not full-on villain. We see that him offer them this opportunity later in the film where you can live on forever if you become a vampire, like how Haley Steinfeld character ends up getting converted to a vampire. That's why he told her in that scene when she comes outside, like, you're suffering. I see you suffering. Gold is not going to help with the type of pain you got. Let your pain go away, basically. Like, come to be a vampire where you can live on forever, you never age, and get prepared for this war. That's what he told Smoke and Stack, also because, you know, they're black. This is around the Jim Crow days and segregation, and they're dealing with Klansmen and shit like that, you know, lynchings and stuff. So he's like, hey, bro, how about y'all come over here with us and we can unite and be stronger as vampires, and we could take out the enemy. But, you know, Stack and Smoke, they kind of were just basically like not wanting to hear it because they just going off skin color. Like, at the end of the day, you Irish, bruh, you ain't got the same skin color as us, go where you going. But whole time, Remnick saw the bigger picture because, you know, Irish people have just like crazy culture too. They went through a lot. They have a lot of like great music culture and things like that, but we learn that later in the film. Now, pushing forward, he even tells them, like, the guy that's with Remnick that walks up to the door, so we have that woman, I think her name was Barb or Barbara, and we have the guy, he's like, this guy right here, he was like, that's the Klansman's nephew that sold you this juke joint. I'm like, what the so the whole time when we see like this random scene where he drops down and he's like literally getting toasted. He's crispy. He runs up to the door. He's running from the Indians. The Indians knew who he was. They were trying to take him out, which I loved that he was just incorporating so many different pieces of culture in this. But we see a Klansman hoodie on the bed showing the connection with the nephew, the uncle from the opening that sold Stack and Smoke Club Juke. So he said, like, eventually told Smoke and Stack, eventually I was gonna go basically and convert him because he's no good. He's a piece of shit. So pushing forward, he wasn't just trying to make them be stronger and unite with each other. That's why when we see that scene, when they're dancing and everything, and they're singing a jingle outside or clapping, and he's like square dance, whatever he's doing, you see different varieties of culture. You see Cornbread dancing, which he's one of the scariest vampires we've seen in the movie because he's like a husky vampire. But we see Cornbread. We see Haley Steinfeld as Mary. We see Stack. They're clapping. It's showing like, bro, we got culture too. We're not on nothing like no racial stuff. We're not doing. We're just showing you that we can have culture together. And just like Preacher Boy Sammy in there singing and everything, he's getting the house lit. Everybody's in there jamming to some Delta blues. We can do that too. Just let us come in. So he was just trying to persuade them, and he was actually replicating them, showing like, hey, basically this is what we're doing. I'm not saying that Remnick wasn't evil, because he was an evil motherfucker. Because remember what he said to Grace at the door. He said, you come out here, or we're going to just go over to that little grocery store and we're going to say what's up to your daughter. I'm like, oh yeah, he's really dark. You know what I'm saying? So I think after they kind of rejected his offer, and I was like, nah, you could go ahead and get off our property. And he was like, I'm going to just walk away slow. That's when he hopped on, you know, different time. Like, I'm all right, you want to play that game? I got you. And that's when he started, you know, he biting people up and stuff like that. But one powerful message that I seen in this was that, you know, no one has a valid reason. You know what I'm saying? No one has a valid reason. Nobody's right. And it's just showing a lot of things with culture down to the Mississippi Delta to Delta blues. And my grandma always, you know, when she brought up the Delta blues, she always had to follow it up with something with the devil. So I'm guessing, like, we know this guy named Robert Johnson, and I currently have a video that's going so viral on TikTok right now. It's almost like 4 million views, where basically I explain this guy, Robert Johnson from Delta, Mississippi, that he was a Delta blues player, where basically he wasn't that good at blues. He wanted to be a good musician, but eventually he goes to like the intersection of the Mississippi Delta, and he meets Satan at the crossroads. And Satan tells him, well, Satan comes to him and he plays a note on his guitar and shows him how beautiful music can be if you sign his contract with me. And rumor has it, Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. He was one of the biggest blues musicians coming out of Delta, Mississippi. He took that offer from the devil. I told people, I think Ryan Coogler, which soon to find out I was right. That's why I was going so viral. He took some inspiration from the Robert Johnson story, and incorporated in Preacher Boy Sammy. And that's why we see Preacher Boy Sammy in that opening when he goes to the church. His father's like, you're doing the devil's work. Put the guitar down, son. And we see he ends up taking that offer from the universe, going with Smoke and Stack. And it was a hell of a night. And you remember they said good music can conjure evil and good spirits. That's why we see that scene with Sammy, and he's playing a guitar and he's like, wrap your arms around me, and the shit is burning. And we see like eventually Remnick, they come up to the door. It brought the devil in. And then eventually we see when Cornbread, Smoke and Stack come up to the door, we see Sammy say, you're the devil. My dad told me about you. And he smiled like, yeah, I'm the devil. And it was something just so powerful in the end with basically them praying together. And we see that at the end, Sammy's praying in this water. And we actually see Remnick try to baptize him, showing him like, that shit don't work. I believe in that too. So you're trying to say these prayers against me whole time, bro. I'm just like you. I'm just a vampire. Like, and then when they all came and recited the prayers, literally goosebumps, because it showed you, bro, we the same, bro. I'm not trying to harm you until you start hopping on bull. Come over here so you can be strong. And you know, Ryan Coogler, I felt like he used the vampire aspect to kind of replicate the lore of it, because technically vampires are slaves. They never see daylight. They're literally having to survive off other humans and shit. So it's a lot of metaphorical shit in this, bro. And I usually don't even do videos like this. I'm like, I understood every single piece of this. And that's why at the end, with the post-credit scene, we see Stack come in there with Mary, and they're still young, while Preacher Boy Sammy's old as hell, showing that, hey, what we're saying is true. They could have simply killed Sammy right there. They didn't. They said, we still listen to your music. We still listen to your records, dude. But we see Stack smell Preacher Boy Sammy, because, you know, he's a vampire. He said, I smell it. Death is on you. You ain't got too long left. And he was like, you want me to bite you up? Like, you could come over here and live forever and always play the music. And then Sammy rejects it. He's like, nah, you know, I'd rather just leave because I've seen too much of this world already. Which was so fucking powerful, bro, because it shows, like, they are young still, and we the whole time we wasn't lying, bro. Even though it's still messed up, like, it's always this big question, like, would you have joined them, like, for everlasting life, especially in the 1960s during Jim Crow and segregation? You ain't had no defense for real, bro. Like, it was Kluxman and shit. So it was all about them trying to unite and bring people together. It was a huge message behind it. It's a lot of more stuff to it, but that was just the main body of it, bro. Whole time Remnick wasn't the real villain. It wasn't no real villain. I mean, he did do messed up stuff, like with Mary, he forced it and he made her a vampire. Kind of, I think he needed her to show the example, because the thing was that, remember, they was singing at the door and Stack was like, that's actually good music. Stack was actually falling for it low-key, you know what I'm saying? Smoke wasn't. And another thing with these, who I gotta talk about, the Smokestack twins, played by Michael B. Jordan. We see Smoke actually wearing a blue hat with Stack wearing a red hat. I saw people say all type of stuff, Bloods and Crips, everything. It doesn't signify that. It signifies hell and heaven. Being that heaven, we see at the end, Smoke transitions. He's able to transition with his wife Annie and his unborn child, and just, you know, just be living on the other side without any attachments. So he ends up passing to the other side. We see that Stack, he has the red hat, being that he's eventually going to be a vampire / demon. You know, red signifies hell, fire, all that shit. So he's on the dark side, and he ends up living on forever as a vampire. He took his route. It's almost like, it's just like a decision thing. It's just kind of highlighting the personas and personalities of these characters, like red pill, blue pill type of thing. But it's morally signifying heaven and hell. But man, Ryan Coogler, Jesus Christ, like, I had to go see it again. I saw it in digital and I went to go see it in IMAX, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man, this was elite. It was elite seeing it, bro, graphically, like, seeing all the passion and love he put in this movie. He merged all these genres, action, horror, drama, and I absolutely loved it, man. And it's so much other stuff I could talk about. Like, we see that Sammy pays homage to his juke joint with the girl he fell for, being Perline, calling it Perline's. We saw how Grace went out. She was willing to die for her daughter. She went out in a fire. So much crucial moments and brutal moments. I think that, bro, just this movie is actually, it's so powerful, but it executes in so many different ways, man. Like, we even see and it was a thing that was crazy where we see Remnick fall and he runs to the door. The lady only let him come in because of his skin color. She didn't give a fuck if he was Irish or anything. Long as he was her color, come in here, we're saving him. And then when the Indians come, that's why he was like, bro, let us know if he in there, because he not who he say he is. They was actually letting him, because the sun was rising. That's why they ended up, well, it was going down, because the sun was setting, because that's why he was on fire. I don't know if they had him tied up and let the sun eat him up, but once that sun went down, it was like, fuck it, you on your own, we out. We don't want to deal with him. Y'all, yes, up to you now. You know what I'm saying? So, man, yeah, it's very powerful. Like that scene when they're dancing in a juke joint and showing the generations of music where it started, and beat for beat, where Africa leading up to hip hop and DJing and just break dancing. Such a powerful thing. And one more thing, the last thing I want to say is, like I said, I go all day with this, but with basically we see Remnick come up to the door and he's like, I heard you in there. Preacher Boy Sammy, I heard your voice. Signifying what they said earlier in the movie. Good music can conjure evil and bad spirits. He was a bad spirit. Also, kind of, it's like whatever you decide. It's like one of those things. You decide if Remick was evil or bad. But he comes up to the door and he's like, that was you singing. And he wanted Sammy because he saw how Sammy's voice musically brought people together. It brought people together and had them dancing and having fun. And that's why we see him outside with his group of vampires trying to replicate what Sammy was doing. You know what I'm saying? And we see eventually at the end, we see the opening is actually the end when Sammy goes to the church and his dad's like, give me the guitar, like drop it, stop doing the devil's work. We see the route that Sammy takes. We see Sammy takes his guitar and drive down that cotton field road, and we see that he ends up opening his own juke joint as a successful Delta musician, a blues musician. I think that is so much powerful messages in this. If you haven't seen Sinners, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you've seen it. And I just want people to understand this movie, bro. It ain't just horror. It ain't just drama. It ain't just action. Horror is just the illusion of it. It does have some scary ass things like Cornbread as a vampire, but it's such a powerful message in this. And I had to do everything explained, man. So comment down below. How did you feel about Ryan Coogler's Sinners? Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to hit me up on all my social medias that I like scary. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.